Imagine wind whipping at -40 degrees, slicing through hides like glass. Cavemen did not simply huddle in despair, they engineered solutions that turned an alien ice world into home. From bone needles that produced the first parkas to mammoth-bone houses standing 2 miles beneath the ice sheets, they rewrote every rule of survival. Over the next 10 parts, we'll uncover their clothing innovations, shelter designs, ingenious diets, social bonds, and the technologies that let Homo sapiens flourish while other species vanished. Early humans mastered garment engineering long before modern textiles. Bone needles just 3 inches long were ground to a fine point and fitted with sinew thread so thin it could pass through reindeer hide repeatedly without tearing. With these tools, they cut tailored pieces of fur and hide that fit snugly to the body, creating multiple thin layers rather than one bulky garment. They selected furs with specific properties. Reindeer hide offered hollow hairs that trapped air for insulation. Wolverine fur repelled moisture and resisted frost buildup. Rabbit pelt provided a soft inner layer against skin, wicking away sweat to keep wearers dry. By combining these materials, they balanced warmth, breathability, and moisture control. Each seam was sealed with a mixture of pine pitch and charcoal. The pitch made the stitching waterproof. Charcoal particles strengthened the bond and prevented the pitch from becoming brittle in cold air. This seam sealing kept wind and snow from infiltrating the garment, allowing hunters to work for hours without exposure. Archaeologists have even found miniature parkas designed for children. Tiny needles and small hide fragments form scaled-down versions of adult gear. These mini parkas show that protecting the youngest was as vital as equipping the strongest. Every member of the band, from newborns to elders, were the result of this cold-weather technology. How do they turn bones into weatherproof homes? When wood became scarce on the Mammoth Steppe, Ice Age communities turned to the remains of the giants they hunted. At multiple sites, archaeologists have uncovered circular dwellings built from hundreds of mammoth skulls, shoulder blades, ribs, and tusks. These bones interlocked like prehistoric Lincoln logs, forming sturdy walls that stood firm against gale-force winds. The density of mammoth bone made it an excellent insulator. Marrow-filled cavities trapped dead air, boosting thermal resistance far beyond that of wood. Walls half a meter thick retained daytime warmth deep into the night, while curved tusks anchored the structure against shifting snow and ice. Construction required careful planning and cooperation. Bones were sorted by size and shape, then lashed together with sinew or tied with hide strips. Foundations of large skulls supported arcing rib roofs covered with hide and turf for extra protection. As generations passed, these dwellings were rebuilt and maintained in the same locations, creating architectural traditions passed down by word of mouth. Communal rebuilding left telltale layers at archaeological sites. Beneath one structure lie the foundations of 2 earlier houses, each sealed by permafrost. These overlapping homes show that mammoth bone architecture was not a temporary expedient, but a durable solution that served families for centuries. What fuels and fires kept these shelters warm? In a land where wood was a rare commodity, Ice Age people perfected alternative fuels. Dung furnaces burned dried animal droppings at temperatures reaching 600 degrees Celsius. Packed into stone-lined pits, dung provided a slow, steady burn that outlasted even the hardest wood in the coldest weather. They rendered seal and mammoth blubber into fat lamps. Hollowed stones or carved bone vessels held melted fat, and moss wicks drew fuel up to a controlled flame. These lamps produced bright, smokeless light and radiated gentle heat for hours, making them essential tools in long winter nights. To stoke large communal hearths, they crafted bellows from treated hide. By squeezing pouches filled with air, they forced oxygen into the fire, boosting temperatures and ensuring more complete combustion of unconventional fuels. This forced air technique allowed them to reach higher temperatures and reduce smoke, which helped keep cave interiors clear and safe. Some sites even reveal ceramic heating elements. Fragments of fired clay shaped into thick tiles are found in cave floors. These tiles absorbed heat from hearths during the day and released it slowly when fires died out. The result was a primitive underfloor heating system that kept sleeping platforms at survivable temperatures through the darkest hours. Which diets powered their bodies through endless cold? Surviving brutal winters required more than mammoth steaks. Ice Age people added fish, seals, and birds to their menus. Along Arctic coasts, they made bone hooks, nets, and simple weirs to trap cod and salmon during spawning runs. In colder seasons, they fermented blood into dense sausages that provided internal warmth and calories. Wear patterns on grinding stones and analysis of dental plaque reveal even deeper complexity. Plaque contains starch grains from wild roots and seeds, as well as residues of medicinal herbs such as yarrow and chamomile. These plants were gathered in spring and summer, then dried or ground into flour. Workshops with heavy stone slabs show deliberate processing of starchy bulbs and legume seeds. Seasonal knowledge was crucial. In spring, melting rivers revealed fish runs. Ice edges became runways for migrating birds. Summer wetlands offered water, chestnuts, and cattail rhizomes. Autumn forests yielded nuts and berries packed with vitamins that warded off winter scurvy. Each resource had its window of abundance. Cooking techniques made plant nutrients available. Heated stones dropped into water, boiled roots into gelatinized starch, fueling the brain and muscles during long hunts. Pit ovens with hot coals baked tubers into edible meals and removed toxins from certain seeds. This botanical expertise turned marginal foods into dietary staples. By combining meat, fish, fermented blood, and a diverse array of wild plants, Ice Age humans built a balanced diet that sustained them through months without sunlight or green growth. Their culinary ingenuity kept bodies fueled and minds sharp in the world's harshest climates. How did they engineer tools to survive each challenge? Every survival task demanded the right tool. Artisans mastered pressure flaking to remove flakes atom thin and transform flint nodules into razor-sharp blades. They also discovered that gentle heating altered stone structure, making it easier to control flake detachments. This heat treatment was a molecular-level innovation that improved quality and durability. Composite tools combined microliths set in grooved bone handles. Tiny stone inserts were lashed into splits in slender bones, creating cutting edges and barbs. When one microflake dulled, it could be replaced on site. This modular approach meant fewer lost tools and lighter loads during long treks. More than 60 distinct tool types have been identified, from butcher scrapers to engraving burins, awls for piercing hides, and borers for drilling holes. Each tool type required a specialized production process and finish. Such diversity reveals a highly adaptive toolkit tailored to every task. Caches of prepared cores and pre-struck blanks served as mobile depots. Hunters traveling along migration routes could stop, remove a fresh core, and fashion new blades without returning to base camp. These depots show foresight and logistical planning on the move. Precision toolmaking combined deep material knowledge, sophisticated production methods, and strategic resource management. Ice Age communities turned stone and bone into a versatile toolkit that made the harshest winters manageable. How did they encode survival knowledge without writing? In a world without writing, cave walls became living encyclopedias. Painters created seasonal field guides by depicting animals and specific behaviors. A bison painted in coat transition indicates autumn. A pregnant horse in spring signifies mating season. These images served as calendar symbols for planning hunts and migrations. Geometric markings appear alongside animal scenes as proto-maps and acoustic markers. Rows of dots and lines often align with the cave's echo sweet spots. Hunters could use sound tests to navigate dark passages and recall key information about terrain or game locations. Some symbols repeat across thousands of miles, from Spain to the Urals. Standardized signs such as arrow motifs or concentric circles marked routes or gatherings. Their wide distribution implies long-distance exchange networks. Paint pigments came from faraway sources. Red ochre from Mediterranean hills shows up in Central European caves. Yellow limonite from distant quarries is mixed in Siberian shelters. Transporting these minerals required negotiation and trade. The presence of exotic pigments proves that communities communicated, exchanged ideas, and maintained cultural links even under frozen conditions. Cave art was more than decoration. It was an information system encoding survival data across generations and geography. By reading symbol combinations, Ice Age people could learn seasonal cycles, safe pathways, and communal rituals without a single written word. Music in the depths of an Ice Age cave was more than mere entertainment. Flutes carved from vulture wing bones and mammoth ivory reveal mathematical precision in finger hole spacing. Each hole was placed to produce consistent tones in a pentatonic scale that could be played and remembered across generations. Drums fashioned from hollowed skulls and xylophones, crafted of bone bars, turned rhythmic beats into a source of shared warmth. When struck in unison around a fire, these instruments synchronized group movement and breath, raising core body temperatures through collective energy. Beyond physical heat, music served as a memory aid and proto-language. Melodies encoded hunting routes, seasonal migrations, and survival tips in patterns that stuck in the mind longer than spoken words. A particular tune might recall the steps of a tracking ritual or the signals for gathering at safe water sources. Large aggregation sites contain workshops with more than 20 partially finished instruments. These production areas indicate that instrument making was a communal craft. Skilled artisans passed techniques to apprentices as children watched and practiced, ensuring each band carried its own musical traditions. In that dark world, music bound individuals together. It helped forge identity, pass on critical knowledge, and keep spirits alive when daylight vanished for months. As modern emergencies drive people into shelters and concert halls for solace, we echo the Ice Age impulse to find comfort in shared rhythm and song. How did social networks and marriage alliances spread innovation? Across 2,000-kilometer ice highways, obsidian blades traveled from volcanic lakes in Siberia to camps in Europe. Chemical analysis of stone tools shows they were made from the same obsidian source, proving long-distance trade in the harshest conditions. Dog sled teams became engines of commerce. Early domesticated dogs pulled sleds laden with raw materials and crafted goods across frozen rivers and tundra. Their strength connected distant camps and allowed perishable items like animal fat and birch tar to reach friends hundreds of kilometers away. Jewelry made from Mediterranean shells and Baltic amber appears in inland burial sites. Each ornament type marked a person's origin and marriage alliance. When individuals moved for marriage, they carried these tokens as portable identity markers. Gifts of shell necklaces or amber pendants sealed alliances, preventing inbreeding and forging bonds between bands. Marriage networks functioned as social highways for ideas and innovations. A seamstressing technique learned in one valley could spread to another through spouses. New tool designs and ritual songs traveled along these family ties. By exchanging partners, Ice Age communities maintained genetic diversity and a steady flow of knowledge even while isolated by ice sheets. These continental exchange networks demonstrate that early humans were not isolated hunter-gatherers but connected innovators. They wove a web of commerce, kinship, and culture across a frozen world. Who held these bands together through severe hardship? Survival depended on cooperation in bands of about 30 people. This size was optimal for resource sharing and mutual aid. When a hunter failed to catch game, radical sharing math ensured the meat was distributed so everyone ate. A single success became a communal safety net. Grandmothers played a vital role as knowledge keepers. Having lived through many seasonal cycles, they knew where to gather medicinal herbs and nutritious plants. They taught children which roots to dig and which berries to avoid. Their memory of seasonal rounds kept the band supplied with vital food and medicine. These elders also cared for the injured and disabled. Archaeological remains show individuals with healed injuries that would have required prolonged assistance. Band members carried them, delivered water, and shared food until recovery. This cooperative care reinforced social bonds and made the community more resilient. By supporting elders and those in need, bands fostered trust and obligation. Each member knew that help would be returned in their own time of weakness. This emotional technology held groups together through deprivation, storms, and predator threats. The success of these bands challenges modern notions of rugged individualism. Ice Age humans survived freezing winters not by lone heroics, but by collective competence, the shared wisdom of grandmothers, and the radical compassion of small, tight-knit communities. What lessons do these Ice Age innovations offer modern survival? From the precision of tailored layered parkas to obsidian blades gliding across continental ice highways, Ice Age innovators built a complete survival system. Every element, clothing, shelter, fire, diet, tools, art, music, trade, and social bonds, formed an integrated web of technologies and behaviors. None stood alone, each supported the others in a world where failure meant freezing. Today we see echoes of these ancient solutions in modern cold weather practices. Layering systems combine moisture-wicking inner garments with insulating mid-layers and windproof shells just as prehistoric parkas did. Mutual aid networks that send supplies to communities struck by disaster reflect the radical sharing math of small bands. Emergency shelters and heat camps echo dung-fueled furnaces and communal bonfires. Underneath our latest fabrics and fuels beats the same human instinct to work together. That instinct is written into our very DNA and psychology. We still huddle for warmth when temperatures drop or fear mounts. We ground our resilience in community and in creative adaptation when the world surprises us. Every emergency response team, every rescue mission, and every act of collective care carries a spark of Ice Age ingenuity. Imagine one final cinematic scene. Dawn rises over a mammoth-bone dwelling steaming in the cold air. Survivors emerge from fur-lined entrances, stretching and greeting the pale light. A new day of challenges beckons, but they are ready. Their ancestors' inventions pulse through each heartbeat, reminding them that human will and invention can conquer even the harshest winters. By tracing these freezing winter innovations, we see that cavemen were master engineers, artists, and social visionaries. Their boundless ingenuity under unfathomable cold laid the foundation for every later triumph of our species.